So you may be the go-to person that always is excited to plan birthdays, baby showers, or you might even be the one that's in charge of planning all the meetings at your office. And now you're wondering, can I actually get paid to do this? The answer is yes. Now, the key though is how do you start to make this into a real business? It's important to start with looking at it as a business from day one. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to start your event industry business, regardless if you're a planner or you want to be a vendor that provides a service. So now you no longer have to worry about how to get started because we're going to dig into it. For those of you that are new to this channel, hi, my name is Jessie. I am a corporate event planner. I have over 15 years of experience inside of the industry. I am super passionate about helping other event industry solopreneurs with being able to have structure and strategy inside of their business so they're able to make more money and scale. On this channel, we talk about the 3 S's: systems, structure, and strategy. All three are important for you to have a profitable business. Just so you know, this video isn't only intended for those that are new. This is going to also be a refresher for those of you that have been in the industry for some time. So I'm going to give you 6 solid steps that I think are going to be helping you with being able to put structure inside your business. The first thing that we're going to tackle is to define your niche and your services. Let's be honest, the event industry is a very broad industry. Often we only hear about baby showers, weddings, birthday parties, anniversaries, when in reality, there's multiple sides and facets inside of this industry. It's important for you to understand that you are not equal with anyone else as long as you get clarity on what you do and how you do it and who you serve. The biggest mistake that I find that people make is going into it very broad, like, oh, I'll do events for everyone. What actually ends up happening is that it becomes divided energy. So you want to think to yourself, what types of events do I actually enjoy and that I want to do? I know some people that are very successful doing experiential marketing, while I know individuals that are very successful as to working in the wedding industry. You can think of, do I want to do weddings? Do I like corporate retreats? Do I want to do brand activations, baby showers, community events, summits, expos? The list goes on. There's not a wrong business to focus on or a wrong niche or service to focus on. The only problem falls is not understanding where you are and the needs of the community in which you're wanting to help and serve. So you want to think to yourself, how do I grow faster, stand out, and attract the right clients? You want to first start with this because what happens is that people will do all things and then they eventually burn themselves out. So if you are already in the industry, and you feel that way, I highly recommend for you to take the time to think, what do I really want to do inside of my business? So the tip I want to give you, start small and focused. You can always expand later. For example, I do community events for specific kinds of clients. There is a need for that. And the reason why I know that is because I took the time to research the needs of my clients. So I definitely recommend in whatever city, state you are in, research what are the opportunities because all of that stuff is available. Here's a caveat. Don't get so wrapped up in doing all the research and you not getting started, but I do think it's important to take the time to research so that you're able to really market yourself effectively. So that's why the first step is to think about what your niche is and the type of service that you want to actually offer. The second thing you want to do is to start with a very simple offer. When you make things way too overcomplicated, it actually will prevent you from mastering anything. So I recommend for you to think to yourself, how can you begin with 1 to 2 solid services that solve a real problem for the audience in which you want to serve? Maybe you want to do event day coordination. Maybe you want to do vendor sourcing. You want to be clear, what do you do? Then expand. I find, let's say for those of you on the planner side, or even the venue side, they're like, oh, now I'm doing catering. Now I want to do balloons and all these things. And you're trying to do all of that while you're trying to grow one business. So this is why I think it's important for you to get the rapport that you need so that you're able to grow. And then it might even be, instead of you learning how to do those things, you learn how to align yourself with others that are great at those services so that you're not stretching yourself too thin. So the tip that I want to give you is to actually write out a I help statement, which is almost like what you would do if you did a business plan. So for the example, you want to think about your service and say, I help, and then who do you help? Plan, and what do you plan and offer so that they can, what is that transformation? For example, let's say you are someone that wants to do birthday parties. You can say, I help busy professionals plan unforgettable birthday celebrations without stress. This is hyper specific, but it allows for you to think to yourself, what are some of the challenges that someone that might be a high level executive that wants to look for a planner? One, the type of service, how much you're going to charge, all of those things come into play based off of the expectation of that person. So that's why I recommend for you to have clarity on your niche and the services in which you want to offer. The third thing is, of course, now that we have clarity on who we serve, how we serve them, what is going to be that specific service that we're going, one or two packages that we're going to specifically be offering. So now we're going to then set up our business. And here's the thing. I know that there's some of you that have probably been doing events now for some time, and you probably may not have even had your business set up legally. So let's talk about the not so sexy stuff, but it's the foundation for your business, because I want to keep you protected and also help you with being able to show up professionally. So the first thing you want to do is think about your business name and name it accordingly, because I have seen where people name their businesses in a way that they regret later on down the road because they don't feel like it's professional or the brand that they want to be able to put out there. So think to yourself, what do I really want my business to be called? And then go onto Google, go onto Instagram, and name check. And then I also like to go on to GoDaddy to make sure that those domains are available. It will help you of figuring out what is going to be the best business name for your business and also knowing if it's actually available. Once you do have a business name, I recommend for you to then register it with the state in which you are in, according to the best designation. If you're doing a DPA, if you're doing an LLC, I'm not going to go into details on the different entities because I am not a legal professional, but you do want to get your business registered specifically so that you are able to do taxes accordingly and then potentially do loans, credit, and those things down the road. Also, you want to take time to register as an EIN because they are really cracking down on that. Definitely, I feel like after the pandemic, because a lot of people were doing the SBA loans, fraud and stuff like that. So you do want to make sure you register your business for EIN, which is a free service, or there's some really affordable options to get your business registered. Then you want to open up a business bank account so that you're able to get paid and then keeping your money separate. I find that some people make that decision a little bit later than they should. And then what happens is that when you have your money, what you're trying to pay yourself, your bills, the business bills, all going into one account, it can be a nightmare and potentially cause issues when it comes to tax season. So have a business bank account and really monitor it. And if you find that you're always having to steal from your company, that's a good indication that you may need to change your pricing. And what I'll do is tag up here my video that I was talking about the importance of understanding your pricing so that you are doing that correctly. And then the last thing I recommend for you to do is to make sure you have proper contracts. Please do not be out here without contracts. That is something that is going to be a very costly lesson. I will put in the description some of my favorite some of my favorite contract platforms on Etsy that do some amazing baseline contracts for those of us in the event industry. So you can check that out. But please stop doing business without a contract. So the tip I want to give you is that even if you're just doing events or starting to provide your services to family and friends, it's very important to start now with showing up as a business owner and as a professional. You do not want it to be that because people feel like they're helping you out, that they're not taking you seriously. So the way that they take you seriously is by how you present yourself and what you're doing to make yourself a legitimate business. The fourth tip that I want to give you is to start your brand presence. Some people jump into the fourth step as the first step, and what happens is that now they're having to redo everything, or it just confuses your potential clients. And when I say your brand presence, you don't need to get so wrapped up in a fancy website or a logo. All those things aren't necessarily going to make or break you. To be very honest, when I first started my business a long time ago, I just went onto a website that allowed for me to create my logo, and I started with that. My website was a WordPress website that I just did. And now we have a lot of really great, easy options when it comes to Squarespace or Square or Wix, just to name a few. But you want to not get so wrapped up in it always being perfect. You just want to be present to showing up consistently and clear in your messaging. So I recommend for you to create your business email. This is super important for those of you that are potentially wanting to get business credit, or to register for specific types of loans and grants. You have to have a professional business email. And to be honest, there's really no reason why we're having Sugarfoot2915 at Yahoo as our business email address. You want it to reflect your brand and what you want your business to show up as. Then you want to set up your Facebook or Instagram page or your TikTok page. I do recommend, if you are someone that easily gets overwhelmed, don't try to do all of them in the beginning. Find that one that you're going to really dial in on your messaging so you're attracting your clients. And then create you a free brand kit on Canva. Canva is a really great resource, even if you're using the free option. One of the things that I always recommend for people, if you aren't in the position of paying someone to do your brand colors, I usually go to Pexels, so I will put the website here. I will find about 4 to 5 images that resonate with what I think my brand represents. And then what I do is I go to Canva's palette generator to create a palette for me based off of those images. And then what I do is I narrow down which palette out of those 4 to 5 do I like. And that's actually how I came up with the colors for all of my brands. Um, at some other point, I probably will pay to have someone do like a formal rebranding. Um, but again, as long as your messaging is clear, people won't sit here and think like, oh, green is supposed to be this and you do this. So don't get so wrapped up in everything being perfect, but you do want to have consistent brand colors, fonts, and using a few templates so it's easy for you to rinse and repeat when it comes to social media. And then when it comes down to starting your brand, be transparent about where you are, the direction, your day in life, the behind the scenes, create content to help with building trust. And then also take people along this journey, because even if someone isn't able to hire you today, they will still share your content because they want to see you win. So start to share and show up. So the tip I want to give you is that people work with people they trust. So you want to be consistent with what you do, show up with integrity, and it's not going to just be about the fanciest website, and it's not even going to only be about the fanciest photos. You want it to be that you're showing up as a human person, not as a human person, but as a human being, so that people are able to like, know, and trust you. So your face and your voice are going to help people with connecting. And again, it's better to show up and be, instead of focusing on being perfect. I just prefer that as a motto in my life. The next tip is now to focus on how do you get your first client, even if you don't have a portfolio. So the easiest way to get your first client is to start in your inner circle. But the key is to treat them like a paying client from the beginning. I know we all have that one or two horror stories where we did something for a cousin or a friend, and then we're like, oh my gosh, they were the worst. But because there's someone that you cared about, you allowed for them to disrespect what you were trying to build. So I think that it's super important for us to be intentional. And the thing is that your inner circle may not hire you, but also you can ask them for referrals. So this is when you want to think about how can you offer them some type of incentive to work with you. It may even make sense to do something discounted or allow for them to, they might have an upcoming event and you just want to get some stock images or you want to get some content. Maybe do something for free or discount it. Like they can buy the supplies and then you can set it up really nice. Do something that makes sense for your economic situation right now. And then you want to make sure that it's on brand. Like if you are not creating content that is not on brand, all it's going to do is attract people that you don't want. So don't be shy to ask for referrals or for people to connect you with individuals that can be great connections down the road. Another great tip that I do want to share with you is to think about how you can potentially even network with people to be a resource so that you can get bookings. So let's say you know someone that has a venue and you're trying to get some clients, why not collaborate with them to see if you can do something as an offer as you're starting to build up your portfolio? So don't just get stuck in how am I going to get clients? I'm giving you some actionable steps. Reach out to your inner circle, let them know what you do, and don't shut up about what you do. And then you want to make sure they know that you're looking for referrals. Incentivize them to share what you do with the people that they know. And then think about some strategic ways that you can feature what you do, either through networking, through Facebook groups, go into your Chamber of Commerce. There are different ways you can go about tackling that. And if y'all want me to do more videos on that kind of stuff, I'm more than happy to do so. So the biggest tip I want for you to get from that is to remember to document everything. Great photos, video clips, even screenshots of feedback. This is gold for your first few bookings so that you're building up a solid reputation for what you do. The sixth thing is that I do recommend for you to start thinking about your systems. And this doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it's best if it is not complicated. You want to think about how you're going to keep yourself organized, how you're going to stay consistent with creating content, and how you're going to stay on top of your client requests or daily actions to attract your clients. And focus on the consistency and delivering like a pro. It doesn't matter if you only had 3 bookings, you still can present yourself as a pro based on how important you make this. And the thing is that it can be very common for beginners to burn out because they're not taking the time to get organized. And don't just rely on hosting great events or being a great end user. Think about how you can improve your communication or how do you not drop the ball when it comes to communication or forget to follow up with people. Systems help with fixing this, and it's one of those things that I find people try to put at the back burner where this can really help with you getting to the next level. This is why I often talk about the importance of using platforms like HoneyBook. I will make sure in the caption that I will have a link for those of you that are looking for a CRM that allows for you to manage your leads, send contracts and invoices, and it's going to be such a game changer for you. And then the thing is that you want to start to find what are those rhythms inside of your business that you can start to expect. So you can start to think about how do I smooth out my event timelines? One of the things I always tell people, like in the beginning, and even for someone like myself, there's always a way to learn how to improve what you do. Don't ever just get stuck. There's a way to always grow in your business. So whenever there's something that can improve, or maybe something falls through the crack, take that as a learning lesson to figure out how do you ensure or create a step so that is avoided in the future. So always continue to learn and think about how you're going to keep on track of your vendors or your partners or your team members, and then also how you're going to communicate this to your clients. In order to really be consistent with this, it's important for you to embrace using templates. Everything from email templates to your proposals, to your timelines. You don't want to have to restart from scratch each and every time. So templates are going to be that time saver for you. So, the tip I want to really give you is that your systems are a part of your brand. A smooth client experience will get you more referrals than the prettiest centerpiece or the most amazing social media post. You want to be able to make sure that your clients are not just wild on a day of, but they're wild through the entire experience. And if you're not completely sure about how to create a workflow or client experience, great. Guess what? I have a free resource that's going to teach you about how to create a workflow that will ensure you having success inside of your business. So, all in all, starting a business in the event industry isn't always about having it all figured out. It's about starting with what you have, committing to learning, and showing up as a business owner and a professional, not just as a creative. If this video has helped you, please make sure to like, subscribe, or even drop a comment telling me where you are in your specific journey. And if you want my free workshop and resource, make sure you click on the link that's below. And as always, talk to you later. Peace.